So thank you once again for joining the session. I'll start the session now. I'll share the screen with all of you and begin our today's discussion. So let us all together offer prayer and then we start the session for today. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Dhyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesh Shunyavadi Vashai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktarinda. Everyone together with their hands high up. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So we are on the final episode of the third Parva of Mahabharata, that is Vana Parva. And we'll be discussing some of the events from the 12th year already. So if you see the 12th year of exile and the plus 1 year incognito, that will start soon. So this 12 years, the 12th year particularly, all the 12 years, the 12th year particularly is a lot of troubles and a lot of challenges. So before we get into some of those challenges that we have not discussed, we just do a quick recap of what we discussed yesterday. Yesterday we saw how Karna came back and then Bhishma Pitama insulted Karna, saying that Karna is a useless friend of yours, speaking to Duryodhana, and he left you to die in the hands of Gandharva, and it was Pan enemy. Karna can't be believed because he couldn't defend you. Rather, he left you in the war. So like that, Bhishma Pitama chastised Karna, and when Duryodhana came and told Karna, he didn't like it. So yesterday's session was focused about Karna's activities to win over the whole world. And he had accumulated large amount of wealth, brought it back, and with that wealth, Duryodhana performed the Vaishnava Yajna, and like that. We discussed all these incidents. Along with that, we also discussed about Karna's past life, the Vaishnava Sacrifice that Duryodhana performed. We also discussed how Karna at the end of sacrifice, when Duryodhana was still not happy because the citizens of Hastinapur had not accepted the sacrifice of Duryodhana. Rajasya Yajna was grand, yours is nothing. So Duryodhana was very, very disturbed. At that point of time, Karna took a vow. So what was his vow that Karna took? Karna took a vow that I would not say no for charity. If any Brahmana comes and asks me for anything, I will give it. And like that, he asked for his kundal and kavach. So we're discussing about Karna, that is Karna, or was Karna really a charitable person? No. He had taken a vow that just to support his evil friend Duryodhana and to spread adharma. So because of that vow that he had taken to support adharma, he was bound to follow that. It is not that he had taken a vow to support the cause of dharma. So Karna cannot be categorized as many people speak about it. And to give you an example of it, we had discussed the past life of Karna. In his past life, he was Sahasra Kavach, who worshipped Surya and got great blessings. And he started causing trouble in the approach, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who appeared in the form of Nar and Narayan Rishi. And Nar and Narayan Rishi appeared and they defeated Sahasra Kavach. And when his last Kavach was remaining, that time he went into Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. Sorry, I had lost the internet connection at my side. Am I audible again? Okay, great. So I'll share the screen again. So I was speaking about Nara and Rishi, how they came and they defeated Sahasra Kavach, and Sahasra Kavach went and took shelter of Surya Devta, and that Sahasra Kavach appeared at the time of Mahabharata. Sahasra Kavach, or Karna in his past life, was himself a demon. So Karna by no means was a saintly person. And that same Nara Rishi are non-different than Arjuna and Krishna. They are eternal friends, the Supreme in previous Yuga as Nara Rishi. And as Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, whenever there is a decline in religion, there is a rise in irreligion, I descend. And that's the reason Lord had appeared along with Arjuna as Narayan Rishi to establish like that. So that is what we had discussed briefly, focusing on the character of Karna. By no means he had a heroic character. nor he was a role model. In fact, he was a supporter of adharma because he had a friend. So let's resume our story from the 12th year again. So this was a little side story that happened in the 12th year. Let's focus and come back to what happened to Pandavas. So Duryodhana, back in the palace. So kids, I am going to enable the chat because we are going to interact, but only on a one condition, that please do not type any other messages, okay? Then I see many of you complain later on that I should have this question I asked. Please reply to that question and then keep quiet, okay? Do not type anything further. So Duryodhana's anxiety is increasing day by day because the 12th year is about to finish and he's worried. The Pandavas was soon written and he is thinking, he's discussing constantly so that this Pandavas never written back. And like that, when Duryodhana was thinking like this, one day a great sage appeared in Hastinapur. Does anyone know who was the sage who had come to visit Hastinapur? And the sage is a direct manifestation of Lord Shiva, son of sage Atri and Anusuya, the brother of Dattatreya and Soma, a great sage, as long as that he becomes angry too quickly. And his name is Durvasa Muni. And as I said, he is a son of Mother Anusuya and Atri Muni. And I'll not go into the story of Atri Muni and Anusuya right now, but this picture speaks in itself. Here to Atri, being pleased by his austerities, they asked Atri, please ask for any blessing. And Atri Muni told to all the three, please you all take birth in my family. And that's how all the three appeared in the form of respect. Vishnu came, Dattatreya, and Brahma expansion was Soma, or the moon god. So this is a little bit about Durvasa Muni's family. However, Durvasa Muni has a particular nature, as I discussed, that he, before coming to Hastinapur, there are two other references of Durvasa Muni in Mahabharata visiting two other personalities. Does anyone know whom Durvasa Muni had visited before this particular incident? What was the name? What was the name of, not to Pandavas, he's going to appearing to someone else before he came to Hastinapur. And to that person, he was very pleased by that person's service, and he blessed her with a mantra that whenever you call this mantra, your favorite devta would appear. Who was that lady to whom Durvasa Muni had given this mantra? Now you got the answer. So long ago, Durvasa Muni had appeared. So when Durvasa Muni had reached the kingdom of Kunti Bhoja, so everyone was so scared that it was decided that only Kunti will serve Durvasa. Similarly, Durvasa Muni had also gone to Vrindavan, and he was served by whom? He had gone to Barsana, and Durvasa Muni was served by somebody to whom Durvasa Muni gave the benediction that whatever you will cook would be so fresh and would be so healthy that whoever would eat food cooked weak would always stay young. So who was that person to whom? Yes, Srimati Radharani. And that's how Mother Yashoda got to know that Durvasa Muni had blessed Radharani, and then she requested Radharani to every fully in future. We'll come back and discuss about Lord Krishna's pastime also. So let's continue with our Durvasa Muni's character. So Durvasa Muni, as I said, he's very short-tempered, and he arrived at Hastinapur with only 10,000 disciples. Not much, huh? Not 10, 20. Only 10,000 disciples, each one of them to be fed. Now, Durvasa Muni's personality, as I said, is a little unpredictable. To serve him requires a lot of humility. For example, sometimes he would demand for a meal, for a food. And when you're about to serve food to him, then Durvasa Muni would say, and after a long time he will return, and then he'll say he's not hungry. So Durvasa Muni is a very difficult guest to handle, and very unpredictable. And suddenly in the middle of the night, he would say, I'm hungry, get food for me. So serving Durvasa Muni means you have to be really humble. And when Durvasa Muni came to Hastinapur, so everyone was afraid. He handled Durvasa Muni and his disciples. And then one person from Kauravas decided that he's going to serve Durvasa Muni. And the most unpredictable person for us who would do sadhu seva actually did sadhu seva to Durvasa Muni, and he pleased Durvasa Muni that he said, I am so pleased by your sincere service. I want to bless you. Please ask for anything from me. Who was this person who had served Durvasa Muni so nicely at Hastinapur? Duryodhana. Isn't that amazing? Duryodhana, who's so arrogant, could actually become so humble. Do you find it amazing? He's so proud, he's so arrogant, who does not listen to anyone, who has no respect for Vidura, Bhishma Pitamaha, but with all humility he served Durvasa Muni. So what was the wanted to please Durvasa so that he can ask for a benediction? And what benediction he asked? Durvasa said, "Hey Duryodhana, you have served me well. I will grant you a boon. Ask for me whatever you desire." So Duryodhana could have desired Pandavas would die. But Durvasa Muni said that what you ask from me should not be opposed to religion. I will satisfy you at once. It means it should not cause harm to anyone. Then I will fulfill your desire. So Duryodhana had already discussed with his ministers and friends a second option. At that time, Duryodhana spoke to Durvasa Muni and he said, "Oh Brahmin, just as you have been my guest, so you become the guest of Yudhishthira in the forest." Well, really? Why Duryodhana wants to send Durvasa Muni to Yudhishthira Maharaj? Has he changed? Has he transformed? What is accomplished? Who is accomplished? Yudhishthira Maharaj. Well behaved, and he is a great king, the best and the eldest of our family. Therefore, O Durvasa Muni, my elder brother Yudhishthira Maharaj and his brothers deserves your blessing. You should go. Has finished eating and are preparing to rest. You will then be well received by those pious men. Oh, look, something strange. Why Duryodhana is putting a condition to the visit of Durvasa Muni? Externally, Duryodhana is kind of talking as if he's a great well-wisher of his brothers. Because Durvasa said that you should go at such and such time. Why was he doing so? Then we'll get to know soon hereafter. But the point is, Duryodhana had not changed. Duryodhana was still very envious. In fact, it was a plan of Duryodhana to send Durvasa a mission, and they will not be able to serve Durvasa Muni. Not only that, Pandavas had received Akshay Patra at the beginning of their Vanvas, and Duryodhana knew very well that Akshay Patra can sound, but will not if Draupadi has eaten from it. So once Draupadi eats, then the Akshay Patra will not produce any food. That's the reason Duryodhana said, "Please go at the time when Pandavas and Draupadi had finished eating." And like that, Karna, as well as to Shakuni, and he said, "Now for sure, Pandavas are doomed forever. Nobody can save Pandavas from the wrath of Durvasa Muni." Finally, Durvasa Muni came and visited them very nicely. And then Durvasa Muni said, "Yudhishthira Maharaj, I'm very pleased by your hospitality. I am here in the forest with 10,000 disciples, and I am very hungry. Please feed all of us. We are all going to go and take bath. You will make sure the food is ready for all of us." And Yudhishthira Maharaj, with his food in hand, he said, "Yes, my dear sage, everything would be ready." And Durvasa Muni left to take bath. In the meantime, Yudhishthira Maharaj was shocked. Draupadi and all the other brothers are shocked what to do. Yudhishthira said, "Draupadi, please arrange something." Eating. Akshay Patra cannot produce any of the food. Yudhishthira said, "Draupadi, you are the most chaste and the pious woman. You have to find a solution. Think about something what can be done." And that's to Lord Hari. She began to remember Lord Shri Krishna because she knew that only Krishna can save me and save my husbands in such a difficult condition. And that is why Sukhdev Goswami explains the glory of chant, which we'll be sharing with you all on the WhatsApp, which talks about the glories of remembering the Lord, glories of chanting the holy names. Because when Draupadi was in anxiety, she didn't know what to do. The life Vasa would curse them. What did Draupadi did? She began to chant the holy names of the Lord. Everyone together. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare. It says in this shloka of Srimad Bhagavatam, second canto, first chapter, verse number 11. Etan nirvidyamananam ichatam akuto bhayam yoginam narpanirnitam Hare Namanukirtanam. जिसका सार और तात्पर्य यही है. The meaning is that, O King, constant chanting of the holy name of the Lord in the fearless way of success for all, including those who are free from all material desires, those who are desirous of material enjoyment, and those who are already self-satisfied. So, when we had begun about this program in the beginning day of town and chant 2 rounds extra every day. Do you all remember that I had asked you to chant 2 extra rounds every day? So, those of you who had been attending our program for the last 2 months, how many of you are still chanting 2 extra rounds, not 2 rounds, before you join this forum? The chat box is enabled. You can write down how many rounds you're chanting. For example, you chant 4 rounds, then you can write 4 plus 2 is the 2 extra rounds that we have been chanting. So in the meantime, when Draupadi was praying, remembering the Lord Shri Krishna, very far at Dwarka. He was sitting in his palace with the primary queen Rukmani at that point of time. And suddenly when Krishna heard the sound, the calling of Draupadi, Krishna immediately got up from the place. What happened? Krishna said, I'll be back shortly. And suddenly Krishna appeared right in front of the Pandavas in the forest. And he knocked on the door of the cottage, and Draupadi opened the door and she began to, please save us. Lord said, well, I'll save you, but before that, I have traveled from a long distance. I am very hungry. Please feed me something. And then Draupadi began to cry. She said, my dear Lord, I don't mind getting cursed from Durvasa Muni, but I'm offering a single piece of grain that I can offer you for satisfying your hunger. Lord said, no, go back to the kitchen. Look into the pots. If you find even a single piece of grain, bring it. I will take care of it. And Draupadi, against her will, went into the kitchen. Just one piece of grain stuff. Krishna said, give me the container. He caught the container in his hand, picked the grain, put it into his mouth, and Krishna said, Draupadi, you have totally satisfied me. And Draupadi, you have not only satisfied me, because you have satisfied me, all the living 10,000 disciples also satisfied. Hey, Yudhishthira Maharaj, ask Bhima right now to go and call the Durvasa Muni and his 10,000 disciples for food. Yudhishthira Maharaj was a little worried. My dear Lord, I have full faith on your protection, but what if Durvasa Muni really turns direction? And Yudhishthira Maharaj asked, Bhima, go and call for Durvasa Muni and his disciples. Bhima went running and he went up the hill from where he could see the lake and all the sages taking bath. And he said, Durvasa, आपका लंच रेडी है, चलो खाने का समय हो गया है. And Durvasa Muni heard, oh, this is Bhim calling. And he looked at his big, heavy shoulders and the big muscles. And Durvasa Muni came out of the lake and he felt suddenly completely filled up to his neck, space to put even a single grain in his mouth. And Durvasa Muni is worried and he's looking at Bhima, and Bhima is looking at Durvasa Muni, and Durvasa Muni is wondering, if I do not go, this Bhima can crush me into pieces. He's so powerful. I am so worried. So Durvasa Muni suddenly turned behind. He looked at his, and all the 10,000 disciples said, no, Gurudev, no hunger, no hunger. Then Durvasa Muni said, so why do whatever you want? If Yudhishthira get to know that we'll not be able to eat his lunch, he is such a pious way. Run away in any direction, because I am also running away. So Durvasa Muni holding his dhoti tight, and he's running, and the 10,000 disciples are running in the 4 different directions in the forest. And Bhima is saying, Durvasa, ruk jao, tumhara khana ready hai. Durvasa Muni and his disciples will come. Why Durvasa Muni was so scared? Durvasa Muni is incarnation of Lord Shiva, because long ago, Durvasa Muni had taken a panga with a pure devotee of the Lord, upon whom he became so angry that but rather than the demon killing a devotee, Lord Sudarshan Chakra came and it chopped off the head of the demon, and that Sudarshan Chakra began to chase after Durvasa Muni. Durvasa Muni went all over the planet. Vishnu said, hey Durvasa, I cannot save you from my Sudarshan Chakra because you have offended my devotee. If only my devotee forgives you, then Sudarshan Chakra would not harm you. So Durvasa Muni came running from Vaikuntha back to the place of the king. And you see here, he fell at the feet of the devotee of the Lord, great devotee. What was his name? Yes, Ambrish Maharaj. Thank you. Ambrish Maharaj, the name is. So because Durvasa Muni had a very sharp memory, so he remembered what had happened long ago. So he was worried if Yudhishthira to kill him. That's the reason Durvasa Muni thought, oh Baba Bhago, let's not come in front of Yudhishthira or Pandavas. Let's run away. And that's the reason Durvasa Muni ran away from that place. At that point of time, when Krishna smiled and he looked at Yudhishthira and said, Yudhishthira, you need not fear. Durvasa and his all disciples have fled away. At that time, Yudhishthira Maharaj, with his folded hand, all the Pandavas and Draupadi, they began to glorify Krishna and say, my dear Lord, whenever you're always there to protect your devotees, we are so grateful to you, my dear Lord. And like this, they began to pray to Lord Shri Krishna. And that is why Lord Shri Krishna is known as Bhakta Vatsala. Bhakta Vatsala means he loves his devotees. Hey Arjuna, declare boldly, my devotees will never perish, which means will never suffer, will never have any problem in their life, never perish in that sense. So similarly, Lord Shri Krishna will see when we talk about 18 days of war, that how many Kshetra and prior to that. And that's the reason Of course, this is a little big verse. I'm not saying this is a homework for you, but this one verse spoken by Sukadev Goswami very beautifully summarizes different incidents. Okay, I would still share this verse with all of you on the WhatsApp group if in case you're able to learn this. Fantastic. In fact, we'll have a special prize those who are able to learn this shloka. Let's see. We'll wait for that tomorrow. So the verse goes like this. Veerasananugamanas pranamam snigdeshu pandushu jagat pranitam cha vishnu bhaktim karoti napatis charanaravinde. This is from Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, 16th chapter and 16th verse. So Krishna heard that out of his causeless mercy, Lord Shri Krishna was universally obeyed and rendered all kinds of services to the malleable sons of Pandu by accepting posts ranging from chariot driver to president to messenger, friend, night watch, obeying them like a servant and offering obeisances like one younger in years. When he heard this, Maharaj Parikshit became overwhelmed with devotion to the lotus feet of the Lord. Sukadeva Goswami spoke to Parikshit Maharaj, and this is Sutta. He summarizes how different times Lord Shri Krishna came to the help of Pandavas. And not only that, he literally acted as a servant to Pandavas, who? The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Shri Krishna. So goes back to Dwarka, and just a month later, the 12th year is about to get over. Just a month later, Pandavas, one particular day, had gone to the forest, and they had left Draupadi behind in the ashram with Dhaumya Muni. So Draupadi was in the ashram, Pandavas had gone to the forest. At that point of time, one king was passing by that area. He is a brother-in-law of Pandavas. He was married to the sister of Duryodhana. Who knows what is the name or what was the name of Duryodhana's sister, and who knows what was the name of this king who was passing by this area? The chat box is enabled. Yes, Dushala, and this person was none other than Jayadratha. And when Jayadratha saw Draupadi, he decided that what this Draupadi is doing with the poor Pandavas, she deserves to become my queen, and I will kidnap Draupadi. Now, I'm telling this story particularly here because it has a direct link with what's going to happen at the war of Kurukshetra. So that's the reason I'm narrating this episode right now. Maybe for some of you it's not much relevant, but because it has reached where Draupadi and Dhaumya Muni were there, Pandavas were not there at that point of time, and Jayadratha, just like Ravana had kidnapped Mother Sita, he forced Sita to climb up the chariot. Similarly, Jayadratha forced Draupadi to climb up his chariot. Chastised Jayadratha. She said, "You are a fool. You don't know what you're doing. You're like a wolf that has entered the cave of a lion. You're sure to die." And like that, after some time, when Pandavas came back, they realized that Draupadi had been kidnapped. So Pandavas defeating the army of Jayadratha, which had more than 6,000 chariots, many soldiers. Finally, Arjuna and Bhima chased after Jayadratha, and Bhima caught hold of Jayadratha and gave what to do with him. And Bhima said nothing, he should be killed. But Arjuna said, Bhima, we cannot kill him because Yudhishthira Maharaj forbade us to kill this person because he's our brother-in-law. He's married to a sister Dushala. And Bhima decided to shave off Jayadratha such a way that he only has 5 tufts of hair in different places. For a Kshatriya, this was worse than a death. And then Bhima told him, Jayadratha, we are sparing your life. Now, wherever the slaves of Pandavas, run away from here. And Jayadratha was greatly insulted. He had not expected that this particular day would become such a nightmare. And he decided that he will never go back to his kingdom. And he went to the forest and he performed severe austerities for a long period of time, eating just dried leaves or the fruits which would fall on the ground on its own. And like that, for a long time, he performed meditation on Lord Shiva. Finally, Lord Shiva was pleased by the tapasya and austerity of Jayadratha. To see Lord Shiva has appeared, and Lord Shiva said, I am very pleased by your austerity, Jayadratha. What blessings do you want? And Jayadratha immediately said, my dear Lord Shiva, please give me the blessing that I can kill all the 5 Pandavas. Lord Shiva said, hey, we defeat Arjuna. And you are asking me to give you a blessing that you can kill Arjuna? That is impossible. And Lord Shiva said, hey, Jayadratha, this cannot be. The Pandavas are unconquerable because they are protected by Krishna. Even I cannot slay them. Therefore, your desire is impossible. With the exception of Arjuna, who is the invisible Nara incarnate. you will be able to check all of them in battle one time only, which means Jayadratha was given the blessing by Lord Shiva that he can hold on to Bhima, Nakul, Sahadev, and Yudhishthira Maharaj and fight with anyone else, and they will be stuck. And Lord Shiva said, you will have this blessing only for one event. You will not have it again. So Jayadratha, after receiving this blessing, decided to go back to his kingdom, waiting for the day and opportunity when he can use this blessing and prevent them from defeating Jayadratha at least once. And like that, Jayadratha went back, and now the 12th year was almost at the end. I was about to end. One more incident happened. Our time is almost getting over. I'll just take quick 5 minutes to quickly narrate the story, which has been already narrated in one of the another. Some time was remaining for the 12th year to end. At one point of time, Pandavas was sitting along with Dhaume Rishi at the hermitage. When one Brahmana came running to Pandavas, he said, Pahimam, save us, save us. And Yudhishthira said, what happened? And that all the tools and all the the offerings for the sacrifice had been taken away by the deer in the forest. Please, please protect me. I don't have any other possessions. So immediately Yudhishthira Maharaj, and they went running into the forest to chase after the deer. They went inside, but they could not find the deer. After a long time, all the 5 Pandavas became very thirsty. So Yudhishthira asked Nakul, please go and find it. So Nakul went and he saw a lake, and then he decided to fetch some water, drink some water, and bring it for the Pandavas. The moment he bowed down to drink water, immediately there was a sound. Lake belongs to me. No one can drink its water unless that person answers my question. Nakul got him. He looked, who is speaking? Who is speaking? But Nakul was so thirsty. He said, whoever you are, I don't care. If you want to. So Nakul bowed down and he drank water. And this person said, because you have not followed my instruction, because this you will die at the spot. And immediately Nakula fell unconscious. Yudhishthira Maharaj was waiting. What happened? Then he asked Sahadev to go. Sahadev went and he also didn't return. Then he asked Arjuna to return. Yudhishthira and Bhima were worried. Many hours have gone by. Then he asked Bhima, please go and find out what happened. Bhima came to the spot and he also didn't return. Finally, Yudhishthira Maharaj worried, went running in the direction where the 4 brothers had gone, and he came to a spot that was shining like a sun, lying unconscious on the ground. And Yudhishthira Maharaj began to cry, what happened to them? What happened to them? And like this, when he was so thirsty, he thought, let me just drink some water. Immediately he heard a voice. You cannot, because at the time Yudhishthira Maharaj asked, who are you? And then this person appeared and he said, I'm so and so. Unless you answer my questions, your brothers will not come back to life and you cannot drink water. And that's how I'm just running through the story because all of you have. Yudhishthira Maharaj began to answer many, many questions of this person, what is known as Yaksha. And Yaksha was so pleased. And this is one of the questions for all of you. A beautiful question, a beautiful verse, something we can remember. So this will be our second homework for today. Because yes, Yaksha asked Yudhishthira Maharaj, what is the most beautiful thing in this world? And Yudhishthira Maharaj said, Ahani, ahani bhutani, gacchantha yamalayam, sheshasthavanamichandi, imasharyam athaparam. ये महाभारत का वन पर्व का 300 पे युधिष्ठिर महाराज कहते हैं, hundreds and thousands of living entities are dying at every moment, but a foolish living entity thinks himself to be deathless, and he does not prepare for death. This is the most wonderful thing in this world. Being pleased by Yudhishthira Maharaj's response, without knowing anything about your identity, and then person revealed his identity as none other than the father of Yudhishthira Maharaj. Who was father of Yudhishthira Maharaj? To whom did Yudhishthira Maharaj was talking all this while? The chat box is enabled for you to type in your answer. And Yudhishthira Maharaj was so this personality, none other than Yamaraj, told Yudhishthira Maharaj, I'm so pleased, ask for any benediction. And of course, prior to this, he had said that you can ask for any one brother to become alive. So I have skipped that part of it. Very important, huh? It has a connection with our tomorrow's story. Yudhishthira Maharaj said to Yamaraj, my dear father, my dear Yamaraj, as you know, our 12 years of exile are about to get over. And we have to go and spend 1 year in exile, incognito. Incognito means that He blesses us, that we will remain completely hidden, and Kauravas will not be able to find out about our whereabouts. And Yamaraj said, so be it. And because of the blessing of Yamaraj, Pandavas could peacefully live for 1 whole year. And with this, our 3rd Parva, Vana Parva, ends. And tomorrow when we begin, we'll be talking about the life of Pandavas in a different roles. In this 13th year, Bhima would become a cook. Draupadi would become a personal assistant, a musician or a dancer who will teach the music and dance to the daughter of the king. Like this, Nakula Sahida would find an alternate job in the kingdom of Virat and then spend a one whole year in exile challenges. And what happened with Pandavas in the 13th year in itself is a very beautiful story that we shall discuss tomorrow evening when we meet at the same time. With that, we thank you all for your kind attention and for joining us today evening again for this. And I'll open the forum for any question and answers if you have. With that, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. And do remember your homework. We'll be sharing the homework with you on your WhatsApp group. Hare Krishna. So I'll give you the right to unmute yourself, or else you can type in the chat box, or you can raise your hand.
Hare Krishna.
Okay, wait a second. There is an issue with my sound. Let me start my Bluetooth, okay? Give me a quick second. Try to speak now.
Prabhuji, Hare Krishna.
Hey, still can't hear. What happened?
Hare Krishna.
Give me a quick second. Let me just see what happened to the sound here. Yeah, it's free. Kids, give me a quick second. Let me just test my sound here. So let me see what happened. I'm not able to hear you all. I'll just take you one quick second. Hey, sound is working at my side. I just played a video here. Who was that student who wanted to ask a question? Vishwakiran, are you there?
Yes, Prabhuji. Yes.
Hey,
Hare Krishna. Can you hear me, Prabhuji?
you are able to speak, but I'm not able to hear you.
Oh.
Okay, let's do one thing, guys. Give me a second. I will just sign out and sign back in. Maybe there's an issue with my signing it, and then I'll take your questions. Okay, all right? Give me a quick second.